The following outline is provided as an overview of and topical guide to Ukraine. Ukraine, country in Eastern Europe, formerly part of the Soviet Union. Ukraine has long been a global breadbasket because of its extensive, fertile farmlands. In 2011, it was the world's third largest grain exporter, with that year's harvest being much larger than average. General reference. Pronunciation: Ukraine, Ukrayn. Common English country name: Ukraine. Official English country name: Ukraine. Common endonym: Ukraine. Official endonym: Ukraine. Adjectival: Ukrainian. Demonym: Ukrainians. Etymology: name of Ukraine. International rankings of Ukraine. ISO country codes: UA UK 804. ISO region codes: see ISO 3166-2. UA. Internet country code top-level domain. UA. Geography of Ukraine. Ukraine is a country. Location: Northern Hemisphere and Eastern Hemisphere. Eurasia, Europe. Eastern Europe. Time zone: Eastern European Time. Eastern European Summer Time. Extreme points of Ukraine: high, Horahovla 2061 meters, low, Black Sea 0 meters. Land boundaries: 4,566 kilometers. Russia 1,576 kilometers, Moldova 940 kilometers, Belarus 891 kilometers, Romania 538 kilometers, Poland 428 kilometers, Hungary 103 kilometers, Slovakia 90 kilometers. Coastline: Black Sea 2,782 kilometers. Population of Ukraine: 46,191,022. 27th most populous country. Area of Ukraine: 603,628 square kilometers. Atlas of Ukraine. Environment of Ukraine. Climate of Ukraine. Renewable energy in Ukraine. Geology of Ukraine. Protected areas of Ukraine. Biosphere reserves in Ukraine. National parks of Ukraine. Wildlife of Ukraine. Fauna of Ukraine. Birds of Ukraine. Mammals of Ukraine. Natural geographic features of Ukraine. Glaciers of Ukraine. Islands of Ukraine. Lakes of Ukraine. Mountains of Ukraine. Volcanoes in Ukraine. Rivers of Ukraine. Waterfalls of Ukraine. Valleys of Ukraine. World Heritage Sites in Ukraine. Regions of Ukraine. Ecoregions of Ukraine. Administrative divisions of Ukraine. Provinces of Ukraine. Districts of Ukraine. Municipalities of Ukraine. Provinces of Ukraine. Districts of Ukraine. Municipalities of Ukraine. Capital of Ukraine: Kiev. Cities of Ukraine. Demography of Ukraine. Government and politics of Ukraine. Main article: Government of Ukraine and politics of Ukraine. Form of government: Unitary semi-presidential representative democratic republic. Capital of Ukraine: Kiev. Elections in Ukraine. Political parties in Ukraine. 2007 Ukrainian political crisis. 2008 Ukrainian political crisis. Branches of the Government of Ukraine. Executive branch of the Government of Ukraine. Head of State, President of Ukraine Alexander Turchinov. Head of Government, Prime Minister of Ukraine Arseniy Yatsenyuk. Speaker of the Parliament Alexander Turchinov. Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine. Legislative branch of the Government of Ukraine. Parliament of Ukraine. Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine. Judicial branch of the Government of Ukraine. The judicial system of Ukraine consists of 4 levels of courts of general jurisdiction. Level 4: Supreme Court of Ukraine. Supreme Court of Ukraine, the Court of Final Appeal, covers all cases. Level 3: High Administrative Courts. High Courts with specialized jurisdiction. The High Administrative Court of Ukraine covers administrative cases. The High Arbitration Court of Ukraine covers economic and commercial cases. Level 2 Appeals Courts. Appeals Courts of Ukraine. Appeals Court of the Autonomous Republic of Crimea. Regional Appeals Courts of Ukraine. Appeals Courts of the cities of Kiev and Sevastopol. Appeals Court of the Ukrainian Navy. Regional Military Appeals Courts of Ukraine. Economic Appeals Courts of Ukraine. Administrative Appeals Courts of Ukraine. The Appeals Court of Ukraine currently does not exist. Level 1 Local Courts of General Jurisdiction. Local Courts of General Jurisdiction of Ukraine includes criminal and civil jurisdiction, district, urban district and town courts of Ukraine. Regional Courts of Ukraine. City courts in Kiev and Sevastopol. Administrative Local Courts of Ukraine. Foreign Relations of Ukraine. Diplomatic Missions in Ukraine. Diplomatic Missions of Ukraine. International Organization Membership. Ukraine is a member of Law and Order in Ukraine. Constitution of Ukraine. Crime in Ukraine. Human rights in Ukraine. LGBT rights in Ukraine. Freedom of religion in Ukraine. Law enforcement in Ukraine. Military of Ukraine. Commander-in-Chief Viktor Yushchenko. Ministry of Defense of Ukraine. Forces. Army of Ukraine. Navy of Ukraine. Air Force of Ukraine. Special Forces of Ukraine. Military history of Ukraine. Military ranks of Ukraine. Local government in Ukraine. History of Ukraine. Main article. History of Ukraine. Timeline of the history of Ukraine and current events of Ukraine. Military history of Ukraine. Ukrainian people. Ukrainian people's stubs. Culture of Ukraine. Architecture of Ukraine. Cuisine of Ukraine. Festivals in Ukraine. Languages of Ukraine. Media in Ukraine. Museums in Ukraine. National symbols of Ukraine. Coat of arms of Ukraine. Flag of Ukraine. National anthem of Ukraine. People of Ukraine. Prostitution in Ukraine. Public holidays in Ukraine. Records of Ukraine. Religion in Ukraine. Buddhism in Ukraine. Christianity in Ukraine. Hinduism in Ukraine. Islam in Ukraine. Judaism in Ukraine. Sikhism in Ukraine. World Heritage Sites in Ukraine. Art in Ukraine. Art in Ukraine. Cinema of Ukraine. Ukrainian dance. Literature of Ukraine. Music of Ukraine. Television in Ukraine. Theater in Ukraine. Sports in Ukraine. Football in Ukraine. Ukraine at the Olympics. Economy and infrastructure of Ukraine. Economic rank by nominal GDP, 48th. Agriculture in Ukraine. Banking in Ukraine. National Bank of Ukraine. Communications in Ukraine. Internet in Ukraine. Companies of Ukraine. Currency of Ukraine. Hryvnia ISO 4217. UAH. Energy in Ukraine. Energy policy of Ukraine. Oil industry in Ukraine. Healthcare in Ukraine. Mining in Ukraine. Ukraine Stock Exchange. Tourism in Ukraine. Transport in Ukraine. Airports in Ukraine. Rail transport in Ukraine. Roads in Ukraine. Water supply and sanitation in Ukraine. Education in Ukraine. Health in Ukraine.